What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the 606 Whateva Podcast, where we discuss events and agendas around the world and feed them to you from a Chicago perspective.
Man, tell them I'm unapologetically black, melanin heaven. So keep your 2 cents. We charging much more about the rain on them. I can't contain it anymore. Let's go. Let's go.
If you don't know me, I am Big Mel, aka The Premise. I got the usual suspects in the building. What up, fellas?
What's going on?
Vinsanity, what's up?
I'm good, man.
How was your week?
It was good.
Yeah?
Good.
Skills, how was your week, man?
Hey, man, I don't have a bad week, brother. It was all good.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pretty good week for me too. You know what I'm saying? The daughter jumped into. They got some shit called freshman. What is it called? Freshman. God, I'm trying to think of the name. Man.
Orientation?
Not orientation.
Okay.
There's like a week where just the freshmen go to school.
Oh, it's a camp.
Yeah,
My son
it
did that
is.
in
It's kind of
history.
like a simulation for the freshmen, like just so they can get to know each other.
before they start school.
And yeah, so
My son did
she
that.
did that this week. Today was her last day of it, and it was pretty cool, man.
That's dope.
It was good for her to have that. And she enjoyed herself, and I enjoyed dropping her off and, coming to get her and all that good stuff. So it was a good week for me, man. And and now we're here.
Okay.
We got some shit to discuss. Well, you shook up the media airways with
Whatever
the shit you said.
They need to be tuning in more often. We do more than that.
Facts, we do. But that's why you give them that craziness, because that's exactly what you spewed out your mouth. Today, though, today we got some shit to talk about, brothers. Just kind of, going down the line on everything. We got to talk about the Highland Park shit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not the first outlined situation of this. This is one of many.
Yeah.
And it's definitely unfortunate. I was thinking in regards to, that situation, not just the Highland Park situation, but usually it's a school thing too.
Yeah.
And, one of me and the producer was talking about, shout out to Billy Hoffa, aka the Black Spur.
Yes,
we
sir.
was talking about just, man. So we know in school they do fire drills.
Yeah.
We know they even do tornado drills in Chicago, even though it's probably not likely that a tornado will get here, but it's mandated. It's mandated. You got to do this. You got to do this. Are they gonna start mandating these live shooter drills?
They already are doing that.
Right,
Yeah.
but how do you? So one of the things that me and the Black Spur was talking about was, unfortunately they got to start mandating these things and making them reality. And my daughter actually interjected, and I'm gonna have her on the show next week too. I'm gonna have her and 3 of her homies. A tour, so we're gonna do a half and half, just like we did with the life coach.
Gotcha.
We're gonna do a half and half with them, and then the other half we're gonna come on and do our thing.
That's dope.
But she told me that, Dad, I just feel like it could be pretty pointless because a lot of the times the live shooters are classmates. So you telling them the exit routes and what to do and how to do it, and if something kick off and they right there taking notes.
Yeah.
Right? So I digress a little bit, but that's something we gonna go fall back on. We got I don't know if y'all heard, Macy Gray came out and was kind of like just speaking her truth in regards to this transgender situation. That's just obviously a never-ending scenario that people are going to continue to talk about. So we'll touch on that. And then they finally prosecuted the Nipsey Hussle shooter. So we'll speak on that too. That brother was gone too. I mean, that was a very unfortunate situation, but justice for Nip is what it is. We'll touch on the Brittany Griner thing.
Yeah.
a vape cartridge.
Yeah.
Still over there.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to wifey and my mother when this story first happened. I was like, this ain't gonna lead to nothing. That was like 3-4 months ago when I said that.
She's
still there.
She's still in the spot. So we'll talk about that. One of the fun conversations is gonna be the senator that has the twerk video. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, she did it upside down.
She did it on her head. I guess if you're gonna do something, do it all the way right. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so we're gonna touch on all that stuff, but let's park at one thing that we always take some interest in. This NBA free agency / trade situation.
Yep.
Have y'all been keeping up with it?
Yeah.
Has Katie, because I know I've said things on this podcast in regards to certain moves and different nuances and teams, and I've been late to the party because I missed like 3 or 4 days or something like that. So this KD thing, let's start with that. The Durant thing. Is he, where do you guys feel he's going, and do you feel like the organization will allow him to exit stage left as long as they feel that they could bring something in that's gonna make sense for the organization? Skills.
It's so difficult for organization now, how the league is now. The players have definitely came up in their ranks in terms of being involved and being a very huge portion of the league, which is good. You know, there's other leagues that want to mimic that, especially the NFL. So the players have more of a voice, they have more power, and that's dope. Problem is, for organizations, they're saying, well, we're going to give you what you asked for.
Okay.
We're going to give you the money you asked for. We're going to get the players that you asked for. We're going to give you the coach that you asked for. We're going to give you everything. And then after a couple years, 1 year being that you didn't play at all, you still got paid, you didn't even play. Next year you play, you was literally an inch from off your foot from really winning that series. You get into this year, you bounce in the first round, right? So it's not just
swept too, not even just.
So you look at an organization, you say, well, there's some things that we can add. I mean, you did the Ben Simmons trade. Like, there's some things that we can add. We can get back to where we are. There's a lot of optimism still in New York after everything that happened with Kyrie and the pandemic restrictions or whatever. And then you look at them and say, nah, I'm straight. I'm ready to roll. So as an organization, it's like, well, damn, you kind of played this because we gave you everything you wanted.
Facts.
We gave up all of these young players and draft capital and all of this money we invested, and now you're just going to leave us high and dry to have to rebuild. Like, that's not right. From a league standpoint and from a team standpoint, that's not fair to them. As a player, you're saying, well, in my peak prime years, right?
He's
at that point
at
now.
his peak. Right.
He's at his peak now. Normally when the athlete is at his peak, he got like 3 or 4 years left to really be at a high level of competition.
Of good relevancy, yeah.
And I want to be able to actually compete for championships within those 3 to 4 years. It's my body, it's my life, it's my legacy.
Okay.
So as a player, I see his perspective. But what I think is going to happen is this. I think it's starting to become a trend with players doing this. And the ownership, even though they don't have as much power as other leagues, they still have enough power, especially with a collective bargaining agreement coming up, to shut this kind of shit down. And I think you're going to see new rules and new things put in place to limit this from happening. Because if I look at it from a team perspective, now there's a lot of people that's fans of the player and just want him to be whatever team they want to play. They want to see it. They want to see a souped up team compete with a great team. Like, I get that from a fan perspective.
Right.
Organization, we gave you everything you asked for, including the coach. And now you're just going to walk out on us.
Yeah.
And you got 4 years on this contract. And you're not even at a point where you can negotiate. Like, we could tell you, hey, you asked out. But then as a player, you could say, well, I can be difficult and then all of this shit. So
facts.
I don't know what they do. I know they're trying to find a good trade for him. I don't know a lot of great trades for a value of a Kevin Durant. So if my opinion on this, and I'll leave it at this, he's doing all of this, and I think he'll still be playing for the Nets next season.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day and all what you were saying, Skills is right in regards to, the player having this newfound freedom.
Yeah.
I think I think I used this phrase when we talked about this years ago. That the players can, in a sense, like burn up the lick in regards to that. But this is a tad bit different, I think, because you have to have the organization play along.
They have
in this scenario. And if they don't want your ass gone, you're not going nowhere. But yeah, I digress. Vince, how do you feel like a lot of people are saying that here go KD being his usual baby-like self and always just unhappy and wanting to do what he want to do and just not being a team player, and you ain't even been there that long. Like Skills said, we moved so much shit around for you to get here, and now look what happens. Just the first time you come up against a wall and that wall knocks you down, you're not going to try to knock the wall down. You're going to try to just run the opposite direction of the wall. How you feel about this, Vince? I know you got something to say about it.
So, yeah, I kind of look at it a little bit differently. Like, I look at it. So, for me, the thing is, like, Kevin Durant came to the Nets, and what I kind of read into it was his main kind of motivation to come to the Nets, outside of, like, quote unquote winning a championship where he's driving the bus and all that stuff. But outside of that was like clearly the thing that enticed him was to go play with Kyrie. Now, the moment, I shouldn't say the moment, but when you read the tea leaves, and it definitely looked like the Nets weren't going to give Kyrie a max deal, right? Like, whether you trust Kyrie or don't trust Kyrie, the fact of the matter is, where that Brooklyn Nets scenario is concerned, Kevin Durant was loyal to Kyrie, and in the sense of his allegiance, if you will, to the Nets was predicated on Kyrie Irving being there. And so once, Kyrie opted into his option year, and Brooklyn definitely took the position of, like, at least for this coming season, at this point anyway, we're not going to give him a 4-year deal. I feel like Kevin Durant perhaps saw the writing on the wall and was like, okay.
They maxed him out though, didn't they? Did they not max? Have they even? What have they done with Kyrie?
Kyrie had a player option for like $36 million that he opted into.
Yeah,
right.
So he's gonna be there.
So he's under contract for this option year.
Because that's all they were gonna get.
That's all. And that's all. So far, that's all they agreed to.
Giving him a max deal yet.
Right. So my thing is,
and it makes sense from an organization, because Kyrie, what you've done is.
You've chosen to step out, and you wanted to step out.
I can't trust you for 4 years. Now, go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, I can't, and full disclosure, I can't necessarily say I fault Brooklyn for being gun shy where Kyrie Irving is concerned.
Yeah.
Now, my thing though is, I also am at least under this current environment, I'm also a proponent of players being able to use whatever leverage they have to get to where they want to be. Now, it'll be interesting because you're right. Kevin Durant has 4 years left on his deal. He has some leverage in the sense that he's made it known that he wants to go. And the fact that he's made it known he wants to go can make it a little bit uncomfortable for Brooklyn. I just, I don't think he's going to go, to answer your initial question, I don't see him at this point. I don't see him getting to Phoenix, because it sounds like any trade with Phoenix, they wanted Devin Booker. Phoenix just gave Devin Booker a max deal.
Right. They're not doing that. He can't even be touched.
He can't even be touched. Right.
Well, for what is it? The first 90 days or something like that?
Something like
he can't be. He can be touched, but nothing's going to happen.
I wouldn't give him up.
Yeah.
The ideal is to have Kevin Durant play with Devin
Right, that's
Booker.
that, and that,
you got a chance.
That's for Phoenix,
and
but
Durant,
that's not Brooklyn's
Durant,
idea.
right? And supposedly Durant even said like for him a trade to Phoenix is only doable if Booker is
Booker
there.
stays, and they're not gonna shuffle over Chris Paul,
Right.
who's older than KD.
I'll be honest, I don't like to your question. I honestly don't know where Kevin Durant's gonna be next year.
Well, Golden State.
It's so up in the air, bro.
Yeah,
Golden
like people.
State is a real option for him. And with
Chicago
the young players,
is also a
Chicago
real
was too, but I don't think Chicago gonna pull it.
No, I'm just a
But
fan.
they are. They got enough young players
I think-
and draft capital.
I think Golden State is an
Let me
option.
tell
I don't
you
know
the
if it's a
perfect trade
real
right
option.
now for Brooklyn, right? You give us Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
We give you Kobe Wright, Pat Williams, DeMar DeRozan, and a draft pick.
Boom.
You would-
And then we'll take somebody like maybe Self. Come on with, because Self was trying to like.
I don't
I don't
mind
know
that
if they
trade
keep
at all.
it Self too. That's perfect.
I would
got
tell you
two
if
young
I'm Brooklyn Nets,
you don't like that?
I turn that deal down. You got
You gotta turn
to
it down.
You got
It's
to
not
turn
a bad offer.
It's not a bad offer. You got to give me more than
You gotta put Zach LaVine
one
in
first
there.
round
Well,
pick.
you okay,
Gotta give
and
me more than
and we'll
first.
give you a pick, and we'll give you a draft pick.
If you replace
Plural.
DeMar
Plural.
with Zach
Okay,
LaVine,
we'll give you
Plural.
a couple. of them.
If the Timberwolves were willing to come off of what 4 number 1 picks for Rudy Gobert,
Yeah.
and the story today was that and I'm gonna get to that in a second, was that the Knicks are potentially willing to give up 7 first round picks for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
That which is ridiculous. Like you can't. I get what you're saying. That's
Yeah.
a good like.
But you got
starting
actual
point,
guys that
but-
you got the baby. They call him Baby Kawhi. You know his ceiling is up there. Kobe White, I really feel like they should have dished Kobe White off like at the All-Star break. They
I think
didn't.
they tried. I don't know what
They
happened
didn't.
with
They didn't
that.
try at all.
Okay.
But I'm
they
gonna
didn't
tell
try.
you.
They could have dished them off. But you got that's like.
Mel, the thing
Potentially-
is, the
And then you
Nets
got the
need
the third
picks. They
Phoenix-
gave up all of their picks
A lot.
when they traded for Harden,
Facts.
and they gave up more picks when they traded for Ben Simmons. They have no picks. So any trade with Kevin Durant has got to
it's
come.
got to be
They got to
guys,
be
they
some.
gotta
They got to
be a
get
team.
players. So here's the thing: it's got to be players that at least gets Brooklyn competitive. I'm not
They're gonna
saying
be
championship,
they would-
competitive, but it's also they got to get successive first round picks because they have none right now.
So basically, you're saying that the team that they deal with has to at least have multiple first round picks.
Multiple first round
for them to even be, and that makes sense.
For there to be a discussion,
That makes sense.
you got to have multiple.
I can
first
see
round.
who-
You got to do it. You got to
I
do
want
it.
KD over here.
But then I'm
man.
also saying,
We got the capital. We got the
Or
capital.
dish them
to
some
do it.
bread. Shoot them some bread.
I'm telling you, man, they want the picks. They have no. I think for like the next 5 years or something like that, they have no first round
But
pick.
nobody with the picks he's not going to agree to any trade. To
There's
those
not
teams.
going to be. He don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
KD don't have a choice.
You don't have a no trade clause.
There's
Yeah.
always
But
a choice with how they do business now. With him being a high-profile athlete, they always can make it worse for you, man.
He ain't got no. He really. He like
He
Vince
got
said,
leverage,
doesn't
but
have
his
like
leverage,
a-
it's a.
It's their decision.
They're not gonna.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna like do him completely dirty
Right.
because
Right.
of who he is, and it could tarnish the franchise
Yeah.
if they do that. But at the end of the day,
They send him to
he
Detroit.
doesn't have no.
It's over for that
He doesn't
franchise.
have a trade clause in his contract.
But
true.
the fact that I don't, but the reason, and another reason why I say I'm me personally, I'm pro for players using whatever leverage to get where they need to be is because
Because you're black.
no, because you look at the Utah Jazz situation, right? They traded Rudy Gobert. All right, now
To Minnesota, right? Him and
even after the Gobert trade, at
I
least
like that trade though.
at least from what we heard, I like the trade, I don't like the price, but at least from what we heard, there was no discussion around Donovan Mitchell going to the Jazz management and saying, I want to be traded. We at least we've heard nothing about that. Now all of a sudden, you hear discussions or you hearing rumblings where the Jazz are open to trade offers for Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell's under a contract. He's got 4 years left on this deal, $120, $130 million. Now and I think Richard Jefferson said it. Anytime a player goes to the front office and says, I wanna get traded, it's all about the player doesn't honor their contract. The player, isn't loyal to the team, this, that, and the other.
Right.
At least what we know so far, we haven't heard Donovan Mitchell going to Danny Ainge and saying, hey, it looks like we're in a rebuild. I want to get up out of here. We haven't heard nothing about that. But all we're hearing is, now the Jazz are willing to trade Donovan Mitchell. And, the team at this point doesn't appear to be honoring their contract, and it's crickets.
Well,
and so my argument is it can't be one way and not the just be consistent. And that's all I'm saying.
But there's always inconsistencies.
I get it.
According to the person that the business is not fair to.
Right.
That's true.
I mean?
The fact that a team could just do you like that, even if you didn't ask for it, but when you actually ask for it, you're the bad guy. I get that perspective.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I think my thing is the situation itself. When I look at Brooklyn, that's not the situation.
No,
they gave that man everything he asked for.
And the Brooklyn situation, to me, even if I'm, and I'm gonna keep it real, even if I'm saying I'm pro player in this situation, I don't like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They have some, in my opinion, they got some culpability in this because clearly, whether it was the coach, whether it was the roster, whether it was all of this stuff, clearly the players had a considerable amount of impact on how that team was structured.
A lot.
Right? A lot. And so
it's almost the front office's fault in the first place.
So here's the thing, and I heard somebody say this, and it made,
you know what I mean?
And I heard somebody say this, and it makes good sense. The one team in the NBA you never hear stuff about this happening is the Miami Heat.
Right.
And that's because with the Miami Heat, there is one person and one person alone who makes the decisions for that franchise on the basketball side. And it's not Jimmy Butler. As much as I'm a LeBron James fan, wasn't LeBron James when he was there. It's Pat Riley.
Period. But when the big three got over there, though, that was player decision
to an extent because there are some stories.
Front office always got to make it work.
They had to work.
Right, they had to make it work. But
D-Wade said, "This is what I want," and they made that shit happen. But it also is because it made sense.
But there are some stories around when LeBron was in Miami. He wanted certain allowances and certain things to go his way.
I heard that.
And Pat was like, "Nah, get the fuck out of my office." So
I don't think he said that to LeBron.
Okay,
but I feel what you're saying.
Right.
I get what the message.
He basically let him know.
He didn't talk to LeBron like that.
He basically let him know.
Shout out to LeBron. This is Lobos too. We got to
basically let him know.
We'll talk about that later.
That
you don't run this shit.
Right, you don't run this, and so
you're a team. You're part of a team here. It's a team culture.
Right. So to your point, Mel, and to your point, the question has to be for any team: are you a team where the players are running it, or is the front office or that, the GM or whomever is running it? It sounds like, to a degree, they let KD and Kyrie
do their thing,
have a considerable amount of input on a lot of these decisions.
But is that a bad thing?
I'm not saying
they took a chance on them. They let
I'm not saying it's. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying. I guess when I come back to it, my thing is, you want to hold the players accountable for, they had, at one point they had 3 of the top 75 players of all time on that roster, and they didn't win the championship. That's
what's that? Who are you talking
Harden.
about? You talking about Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, sorry, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Had him on the roster and it didn't work out. Okay, players deserve some of that too. But I'm like, I look at Sean Marks, I look at some of those guys, and I'm like, it goes both ways.
I totally get. So that's the point I would love to make in regards to this situation, and almost any situation we deal with in life, like there has to be a level of balance.
Yeah.
And I think the scales tipped a little bit too far in one direction when it comes to the Brooklyn situation. And it's almost like when you're at this build-up phase and somebody just comes over to you and being like, hey, we can do this, and this.
Right.
And you don't even take it into consideration. You're like, oh, shit, get him. Let's figure it out. Bring him in too. Oh, he want to bring him in too. Not even considering, like, even the James Harden thing, right? You looked at a man that basically pushed himself out of a franchise.
Yeah.
Twice.
Forced himself out of a franchise.
Twice. Yeah.
But it was real bad, this Houston thing. That was terrible what he did in Houston. Pushed himself out of there. And again, I'm with you. Like, I applaud the athletes for understanding their worth. I get it.
Dead ass, yeah.
So now, front office, management, y'all got to figure out how to counteract that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You signed this man looking at that, probably didn't even have a real conversation with him about that shit. Just was like, come on home, man, let's do it, blah, 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 let's do it, let's get it. And he essentially did the same thing to you. Like, what, a little bit over a year later? Only played probably played less than 50% of the games with y'all. And now you are crying over spilled milk. You know what I'm saying?
You see the writing on the wall.
Look at what you're doing. Yeah. So it'll be interesting, even if they get rid of Kevin Durant, to kind of see what their moves are going to be in the future, because prior to KD coming, prior to Kyrie coming, prior to James Harden coming, they had a good squad. And they had a good coach.
Yeah.
They got rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
They got rid of like three. They were kind of built like, and not, you know, like slighting the 04 Pistons. They was kind of built like the Pistons. They had 3 or 4 potential all-stars, but just didn't have that superstar guy. So instead of bringing just one guy in that could kind of gel with a Dinwiddie, a LeVert, a Josh Allen, you just dump that hole. You just get rid of all that. You know what I'm saying? They were competitive prior to that.
I mean, I get it, but if you had
young players
at that point, at least before James Harden got disinterested in Houston, but if you had the opportunity to get a James Harden that was close to, you know, peak Houston, like, I get why they look like I get why they made the move. I'm not saying that. I'm not.
But you gotta lay in the bed you made. At the end of the day, like, I get it too. Sometimes but it's happening again to you.
I would tell you,
so now it's time to. I
would tell you, if I'm Kevin Durant, me personally, if I'm his manager and I'm his people, I would say you probably, you know, if what everybody was saying initially that Phoenix was his first choice, I would turn my eyes away from Phoenix and I would try to see if there's a way I can get to Miami. Because I
would try to see if there's a way to get to Chicago.
I would say,
come on, KD.
Yeah, I would say if
come on, KD.
For real, if he can figure out a way to get to Miami and him and because I don't think they can move Bam because of that whole rookie.
We gotta be
it's like a rookie max thing.
With this though, like when we look
at
players,
do it. Yeah,
we see how they get down. You know, this is we play there a year or two. If I don't like it, I'm a bounce kind of shit. But you done made the franchise set back by getting rid of all these young players and draft capital. Don't do that shit to Chicago, man. Don't have us get rid of some good young players and we see them play better in other teams and this dude be here for 1 or 2 years. He ain't worth that to me for no 1 or 2 years.
Hey.
He's a great player.
I'm gonna take
him. Some say he's the best player, second best, wherever you want to put him.
I'm gonna take
if I could,
you see the path.
Yeah, if I could get the tail end of Kevin Durant,
you don't got to guarantee one.
This ain't even like
the tail end of his prime, and I could get it. And you won't get him on the cheap, but if I could get him.
You don't have the guarantee of winning any championship.
But you got to really, let's put it this way. If he goes back to Golden State and Golden State still
Zach
got
LaVine
Steph,
and Vucevic,
they gonna want Zach. The only way I see them even considering it
so you don't
is
think
if Zach LaVine is in there.
Yeah, I was trying to.
DeMar DeRozan, They'll be like,
That's
okay,
the
we'll
thing.
take him
He
too.
finished third in,
We'll take him
in
too.
MVP votes last
We want
year,
that
guys.
young killer.
Yeah.
We want the young killers. Give us
He's
them.
not that young though. This is like his 9th season too.
But Zach
He
only
younger than
20.
DeMar DeRozan.
He only like 26 or 27 tops.
Like, we want the
Yeah.
young killers. So you're going to have to put Zach in there.
I know, man. They,
I know. Yeah.
So when you take Zach and
They
DeMar
can't
off
put
the
both
team,
of them in. Like the goal is to at least keep one of them.
when you got the gold ticket and you got the only one, you want what you want for it.
All right, so let's do this, fellas. Like, okay, we'll see how that transpires with KD. How do y'all feel about the Bulls' moves? Usually, like with this new front office now, I've been very impressed with like their off-season moves, and it's just it's like a breath of fresh air considering where we were at with the Garpax situation.
Right.
I was shocked and happy with the Vucevic move. I was happy with the Lonzo move. I was happy with the DeMar DeRozan move. They seem to be in the thing. Caruso as well.
I was happy with that.
The thing I like about this front office is they're not showing anybody their hand.
Right.
So these moves are, I mean, we started to learn about the Lonzo Ball thing. We got, but that was like a couple weeks privy to it even happening. You know what I mean? The same thing with DeMar. Like there was a time when we didn't like consider DeMar. Like we wasn't even, and then like a couple.
Some people said it was one of the worst free agent signings
And look what happened.
last off season. Yeah.
So the Bulls now have, I believe they've signed Andre Drummond. Who else did they grab? And is that it? No, it's somebody
They're
else.
still trying to
too.
get Miles Turner, ain't they? Or they changed
No,
their
it was
mind?
it's somebody else.
See, I just heard
in
the
the back.
I just heard the Drummond.
The Drummond
signing.
thing, I thought it was somebody.
It might be
in
somebody else, but
in the
that's
backcourt that they grabbed as well.
Dragic.
Yes, Dragic.
Yeah.
The D Rose victim.
Yeah.
So they grabbed Dragic as well. What y'all think about it? Considering the team they have now, right? Because, so let me give you my take on it, and then I'll hand it off to y'all. Like, I was a big proponent and I am like always a big advocate about like when it comes to sports, like duping, chemistry, and all that stuff. I think the Bulls play like less than 50% of the games together as a unit due to injuries. Right? So we really don't know who they are. And we propel it to the playoffs. This is Zach's first year ever in the playoffs, even though he's a 8-year veteran. Right? You got DeMar, you got Pat Williams, who has high hopes. But again, this is his first stint in the playoffs.
The rookies, they saying a lot of good things about the rookies.
What is you got AO. I like AO too.
No, I'm talking about the one they drafted this year.
Oh, yeah.
They're saying you're looking pretty good.
Yeah. So we got these things going on, and we need more. But do we need to just allow the Bulls to settle in and get to know each other? Or do we really need more? So answer that first. Like, what do y'all think about the new acquisitions that the Bulls picked up in Drummond and Dragic?
I like the Drummond pick is cool. Like, you know he's gonna get some rebounds. You know he's gonna block some shots. I don't know what the price tag on that is, but
Better than Tristan.
yeah, it's an upgrade from Tristan Thompson.
So we got to get rid of Tristan.
Only thing that gives me pause is I keep hearing like, and I think AK even said it the other day, like Lonzo is making progress, but not as quickly as they would like.
Right.
They just kind of backtracked his progress the other day.
That to me, because a lot of people like hang their hat on the fact that like, oh, the Bulls were like the number one seed, before Alonzo got hurt.
Right.
And I would like, who knows when he's gonna gets back when he's healthy, but I would like, knock on wood, he makes progress and he's back, soon enough. because I did like that when he was healthy. I did like, what he brought to the team. To me, I want to see, like, everybody keeps calling P. Will the baby Kawhi. I want to see, like, a next step in his game. I hope I'm wrong, but I just have a real bad feeling that DeMar is going to take a little bit of a step back.
Because he's old.
This season, I mean,
because the tapes are out on him.
Right? Just the tapes.
If his squad isn't able to have more threats on the floor, all you're going to have to do is clutter that 18, 15 to 18
cut that mid-range,
And then what you going to do, DeMar?
Yeah.
If you can't pass it out to Boots or Zach that's going to, make them an accurate threat, then they're going to continue to just cloud that middle and you're going to be, done.
So I guess to answer your question, and then I let Skills have it, like, with Io, and they got, like, some interesting pieces. Yeah. To me, if you ask me what the Bulls' ceiling is, I say it's probably somewhere around, if I had to put a number on it, I say 48 to like 52 wins. That's kind of where I put it.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the East, that's like
East,
what, maybe fourth?
Which is like fourth or fifth seed.
It's not that good in the East. Like last year, the East I think the East eclipsed the West. As far as like,
I'm saying the East is
just like that first year. Go ahead, Skills.
But I mean, and two things before I even go into my point is, this whole trade thing in Brooklyn can possibly change all of that. So we don't even know how that's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what happened with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, it could be a whole different East situation. But outside of that, looking at how it is presently, you look at the Bulls and they're saying this. They're saying when they watch the players play together, especially the earlier part of the season when they was on a roll, they like what they saw. And we did too. We was really surprised to see them play like that. They really played with a little chemistry a little earlier than we expected.
Yeah, we were on the podcast.
We was just like,
that,
bro, they're going to have to get to know each other. All of a sudden, they was out there playing like they've been playing together. So if you look at them being healthy.
And injuries hit them.
I mean, then when they got injured, that's when everything kind of changed. So as an organization, if you can't get Kevin Durant, right? Because I don't care what nobody say, how much promise you got. If you can get Kevin Durant or LeBron James, that's priority, right?
I'm with that.
So, I mean, that's what it is.
Facts.
If you're not making that a priority, you lose your job.
I will make that. I will take
lose your job.
whatever chance, and that's why I can't all the way fault Brooklyn, right? Because I'm taking that chance.
You can inquire about it, but I just.
Oh, yeah, if it ain't going, I mean, I know it may not happen.
Yeah, I'm sure they called to see, like,
But that's the thing about being smart with it. If it sets you back too far, like, you've seen promise. You've seen this. You got young guys. You've drafted well so far. You got a lot of good young talent. You got some veteran talent. Like, you got a team that can compete in the East, right? If you can get them healthy, if the young players can contribute, if the second, third year players can improve, you got a really good team, possibly. If you can't get Kevin Durant, that's who you roll with, and you shake the dice on that. It don't cost you draft capital. It don't put you in the hole. Like, if it doesn't work out, there'll be somebody else next off season that you can add, and you go from there. But if you can get Kevin Durant,
all bets are off, my friend. If you can get Kevin Durant, all bets are off.
Because you get Kevin Durant, but then again,
I'll risk my job to bring Kevin Durant.
If you're the person making these decisions and you didn't even offer a package to Brooklyn, you should lose your job. Like, that's insane, right?
Facts.
So I think they have considered what they'll do.
Sure they have, yeah.
I know it's certain players they can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
It's certain players that can't afford to lose, or they're not even going to be as competitive as they want to be. It sounds good. It's like the whole LeBron James era when he went to Miami. And we had people in Chicago that was like, it's a chance. LeBron is coming here to play with Derrick Rose. And everybody was like, damn, it's a chance.
Right.
And it was no shot.
Right.
It was no shot.
But no,
And I feel that's the same with this Kevin Durant situation.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
We love the idea of him in the uniform.
We love the idea.
We got no shot.
And they just not talking about us.
Yeah.
It's always like that in Chicago. They just not talking about us.
But I mean, if you think about it, like taking the Kevin Durant thing out of it, can the Bulls, as currently constructed, in a 7-game series, can the Bulls beat the Heat? I personally don't think so. Can they beat
a fully healthy Bulls team?
I don't think they could beat the Heat in a
I don't know.
7-game series. I don't think they could beat the Celtics. I for damn sure don't think they could beat the Bucks. And I don't think they could beat the Sixers.
Well,
So
I
mean, to me, that
Where
makes
did they
them
go?
a 5 or 6 seed.
It was 4-1 series against the Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Some of them was close, but at the end of the day, you look at how many games they
Zach
won.
was injured in that series. Like, it's just, if we're fully healthy, and this is how we're gonna know. And that's why I say, as the ownership, you should take this chance with your team. You constructed a good team. You didn't put yourself in the hole to construct it. Because, I mean, that's a very rare thing, is to put a good team together with free agencies and draft picks, and you didn't put yourself in a hole to do it. Mm-hmm. Man, ride that out. See how they play the second. See how they play this next season, and they might surprise you. If it's obvious after this season, or even healthy, we're not there. Now, you got the capital to move around and do something. But I think the biggest part with this is, where does the player want to go? It doesn't even matter. Like, I know the team has the ultimate decision with it. But if the player don't want to go to Chicago, it doesn't even make sense to do that.
Yeah, no fact. So I mean, yeah, man, it's very. He
gave his list. We wasn't on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was excited when they say he gave his list of teams. I was looking at the TV screen, hoping to see that red, and I did not. I'm sorry, Miami.
I'm gonna send something to him on IG because I know
rather go to Miami.
I know he's gonna respond
to it.
You feel? I'm gonna send something on IG. Maybe that'll get his juices.
But you know what? Just in case. By any chance he see a clip of this shit, you never know. If you come to Chicago and win here, it is 10 times bigger than anywhere else.
Because you are almost pulling on that MJ era coattail, like I just came my first year and did it. Hey, Skills, I was thinking that too.
Be careful, Mel. Be careful.
You will feel love to hear if you win. I guarantee you that.
Facts. I just want them to come. That's all. All right, moving on, y'all. Let's hope the Bulls are at least putting that pressure cooker on Brooklyn to like throw some shit in front of them to see if it'll come through, and then we'll reconvene and sit right back in these chairs and talk our shit and dialogue on KD in a Bulls uniform.
It might be one of the few jerseys I go buy as soon as they come out. Goddammit.
Moving on. So Macy Gray, she was on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, and this is like a UK guy, right? This is a guy that he's huge out there, though, right?
I hate Piers Morgan.
Okay, you're not a fan of his.
No, I'm not saying we don't have to like him, but
no. He's a big yeah. I'm not disputing his. Yeah.
So we all know how this Morgan guy feels about, the transgender situation, particularly about, he tried to make this an exclusive situation in regards to transgenders performing in women's sports. And we touched on this a while ago, right? So when he got the perspective from a Macy Gray, who is an artist that doesn't go to that side of just this is me. She's
authentic,
unpopular when it comes to this is me. Her music is beautiful, but people love her because she doesn't fit the mold of what an artist is, of what
she does her own
humans
thing.
are, period.
Yeah.
And she basically said that she has, I guess, an issue with transgenders being in the same scenario as, I'm not gonna call you a woman. Like, I will call you anything you want me to call you, but because you get surgery and because you feel a certain way, it doesn't make you a woman. And then she went off into like childhood things, being a young girl, and things like this.
Up, how was a precious moment. Yeah.
I looked at some, and this is just, and she also opened up with, this is just me. This is how I feel. I looked at some of the comments on IG. Totally disappointed in Macy Gray because Macy Gray is who she is.
Come to cancel
who's somebody. Yeah, I'm just utter disgust and blah blah blah. These are the comments that are kind of coming from her statements. So before I even get into was Macy Gray's statements right or wrong, are we? And then one of the things she said is, because I don't agree with some of the things doesn't make me a transphobe. Right? That's what she said. And like the comments were just like brewing and going crazy in regards to what she said and how she articulated herself. Are we at this point nervous about expressing any feelings or dialogue on anything that has to do with the LGBTQ community? And I say that because, like, we're three black men sitting on this panel, right? It's totally okay to me for a white person to come on this panel that's never lived on Central and Washington, right? Smack dead in the hood camp, right? And for them to say, well, I don't want my kids to grow up there because every time I just feel like I need them to have a new opportunity, and I don't want it's poverty stricken over there. It's not where I want my kids to grow up, and it's not. At that point, do we scrutinize that white person if they say something like that? Like, I don't want my kids to grow up in that type of environment. Because on the outskirts of it, just without going beneath the surface, looking at that environment, you think like, well, fuck, it can't get fucked up over there. It can't be. Do we cancel that white person for that? Do we cancel the white person for saying, listen, man, it's too many niggas over there. There's too many niggas over there, and I'm not having that. I don't want my kid to grow up in front of all these niggas. That's the white person we cancel. But do we cancel the white person for voicing their opinion on how she feels or how they feel about being engulfed in that neighborhood?
Inclusion. And let me just go first. I get mine out the way.
Go for it. Yeah.
Inclusion is what this is all about. Originally, that was the point of it. For everyone to be included and not excluded. And us as black people, we can identify with that.
Facts.
Very easy. Inclusion is important. To act as if someone doesn't exist is a painful thing to that culture. We know how that feels. We're in full support of that. When you start going beyond that, which is you start going beyond scientific things, you start going over obvious things and try to get me to co-sign it or anyone else to co-sign it, that's the problem people are having. And unfortunately, they can't be comfortable in any way to voice that because currently the culture says it's more important that we support this rather than say things to correct it, right? That's a problem. And my view on it was always the same. We talked about this before about the transgender athlete that played on the female swim team and broke all the records. I said it then. I said, to be honest, I have my opinion on it, but this isn't our fight.
It's the woman's fight.
It's the woman's fight.
Yeah.
Because they're not replacing us.
And you were very accurate in saying that.
They're not replacing us anywhere. There's no
that.
woman that's changing herself to be a man and competing against LeBron or competing against a football player or competing in boxing. We're in no threat of feeling like someone is replacing us in any way.
And
right?
probably never will be.
Never will be.
When it comes to
But with women,
like
it's
this.
different. And I felt like sooner or later, women were going to see the bigger picture, and those with enough courage was going to speak out against it. And they are. And when a few women of that status does, because Bette Midler posted something, J.K. Rowling posted, it just started a whole wave of people who was like, well, you know what? We're canceled already. Fuck it. Let's piggyback so you won't be, you're not alone in what you're saying. And what I say to that is this. You have a right to be whatever you want to be. If you want to be gay, if you want to be trans, if you want to be bi, if you want to be cis, whatever the terms are, if I don't have them all.
And I will identify you as that.
If you want me to identify you as Ed, I'll call you Ed. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to respect you and call you what you prefer.
But here's the thing, though.
And let me say this last part,
because
this is the part that shifts it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to tell me that there's a human being of existence that did not come from a woman. Yeah. And you're not going to teach my kids that. And you're not going to train a whole other generation that there's something extra outside of that. A female can give birth. A male cannot. Now, I was just told recently, I spoke with some people who's really into this, and they've said, well, that's not our argument. Our argument is gender. Our argument is man and woman. It's not about sex, it's about gender. I've never separated the two, but apparently we need to. As a male or female, they're saying we're not arguing with that. We're arguing of gender. We get to choose our gender. Well, that's fine. You can choose your gender, whatever you want to do with that. But Macy Gray is saying, once you choose your gender, you are still not of female sex if you were not born that way. Right. You're not going to tell me that our mothers, who are so important, women in general, females in general, of civilization, of giving birth to all of us, that anybody can do it. Because you can't. Anybody can't do that.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with the philosophy of teaching someone that a male can have a child and confuse them more. No, it's not true. And then the argument is, well, there's some women who can't have children either. That's true. But there's no man alive who can.
Yeah. And I think here's where the situation, and then Vince, I'll let you grab it. But I think here's where the situation kind of gets misconstrued. When you say, I'll call you a her and I'll identify you as that, your argument, Macy Gray's argument, because she said the same thing.
Yeah.
She was like, if you want me, why call me that if you really not identifying me as that? So let's be all out in the open here. Like, if you want me to call you a woman, but then once I leave your hindsight and then you turn around and go the other way and I be like, that's not a woman, bro. Why not just put all that out there? And that's my only issue with the Macy Gray situation, because I felt like there was a level of contradiction. Like, if you want me to call you a her, I'll call you a her. Well, why would you do that if you don't feel like that's a her? Like, what's the purpose of doing that? Just to not ruffle any feathers? But you're going to ruffle them even more when you speak your truth. You know what I'm saying?
Because you can't speak your truth. And because if you speak
I'm talking about the person that opposes it. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Macy Gray.
Yeah.
I'm talking about everybody that says, I'm going to identify. Wouldn't it be better if you say, I'm not going to call you a her because that's not what you are. Instead of just saying, I'll call, you can't.
You can't.
But I feel like we get ourselves in more trouble and we get ourselves in more angst in regards to this situation, because it's almost like the level of contradiction is like way up there when we say, I'll do this for you, but I ain't gonna do that for you. You know what I mean? Because we feel a certain way about this. with the sports thing.
Yeah.
With Macy Gray breaking it down, like there's certain things that as a little girl I felt and blah, blah, blah. But again, too, like Macy, you don't know how that little girl felt. From a science aspect, that's fine, right? I get it. But if this guy has turned, if he honestly feels like a girl coming out of the womb, but because he can't have kids, because scientifically it's not possible, are we just saying that, bam, you can't be how you feel?
You could be however you feel, right?
You could feel like $1 million.
You could feel like $1 million if you want to. You have a right to feel.
But
how
have
you
like
feel.
$5 in your pocket.
And out of respect,
That was a bad example.
But I'm just saying, like, and if you just want to, and I don't want to do too. I want you to have yours, Park. But real
Nah,
quick,
take your time, man.
is to me,
My
I
statement gonna be
equate
brief.
that to people.
As usual, when it comes to this shit.
Right, but I know people who equate themselves with black culture, equate themselves as being a black man, and saying, you know, well, I'm a black man too. I know that experience. Well, if you're not a black man, you don't know that experience. You know what I'm saying? You can say, well, my whole life I felt like a black man, so I can identify with your experience. But if you're not a black man, you didn't get the same experience. That's true with transgender, as you said. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know how they feel inside their story. We can't say how they feel. But certain things, my fear is this, and again, I'm not going to toot my horn with it, but I just want to make this clear. Women are starting to see the blueprint of where this is going. And they're starting to see the mindset is starting to gradually turn into, well, anybody can be you. And that's different with women because there is certain things of being a woman that is special about being a woman. And if you say, well, anybody can be that if they choose to, they're starting to voice their opinions of saying, well, no, that's not necessarily true. Like, there's a line, and they're saying it.
My thing is the only thing that I don't really appreciate, like, the equating the black struggle with the LGBTQ
Why
struggle.
not?
Only because, and again, I may get
I'm not saying it's
scrutinized for this.
I'm not saying it's identical, but why do you not put it at all?
Because before we even realize how we feel and what we are, we're looked at birth.
Period. Yeah.
Because of the color of our skin. And there's a perception about us before we are even able to speak.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And when you look at and first of all, there's a lot of, when it comes to Hollywood and all that, you can do your researches, guys. Shit, gay white men run a lot of this fucking country. Let's just put it out there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But when you look at a child that starts to develop these feelings of, you know what, I'm in my wrong, these are not my right organs, these are not my right. You got time to like figure that out and morph into this person that you feel like you want to be.
Right.
I don't even know what the fuck is all the angst about with me when I'm first born, because all you seeing is, oh, this is a black kid. Fuck this little nigga. Right. It happens like that, bro. So that's the only reason why I'm saying the struggle is different. And if you want to keep it a buck, their cause is going a whole lot better than the black cause. You know what I mean? It
is a penalty.
It's just working out a whole lot better.
Like,
I'm not saying that there's. I'm not putting the black struggle on the pedestal, because you shouldn't put any fucking struggle on the pedestal.
Right.
Let's put that out there.
Right.
But when I hear that like that, it's not comparable in certain senses, only because the vantage point of what I am and the vantage point of what you are can almost be more camouflaged and it's eternal. Mine's is external and internal because I grew up in a certain culture, but you can see that even if I grew up in fucking Naperville or something, you look at me and be like, oh, he must have grew up on Central in Washington or something. You know what I mean? So that's why that's my only issue with like kind of trying to compare the two struggles. And I'm not saying you were doing that.
Right. No,
I'm just saying people in general are doing that, and I don't agree with that, man. It doesn't put your struggle at a disadvantage, but just understand the separation of it. Vince, go ahead, bro. I just had to get that off.
Look, fantastic conversation. Full disclosure, I'm gonna be careful because I didn't hear what Macy Gray said, and I didn't see the interview, so I don't,
She tried to walk away, but she stumbled.
Yeah. So I don't want to like miss.
Shout out to Macy Gray.
Quick part. I want to summarize because she spoke for over 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. The quote that's floating around is when she said, "You can change whatever you want to change about yourself,
but you still won't be a woman.
But you still are not a woman."
And that created the basis of her conversation.
They summarized the whole conversation with that one.
Just to give a few comments to like what she was saying, and I don't want to. I know you since you said you didn't kind of look at it.
Yeah.
So watching Macy Gray and Bette Miller add to the transphobic narrative that we are somehow taking away from women is yet another depressing example of why we are so damn sick of fighting this battle. Macy Gray she wasn't saying that.
Okay.
Right? So, and then here's another one. I'm actually disappointed in Macy Gray saying this. Another wrote, I thought she, of all people, would be most understanding with her carefree, outlandish self. But hey, again, that is like, okay, you're fighting this fight, but then now you're gonna try to push her off the ledge because she just said something she felt.
Right.
And again, like none of her words were like hateful and none of it. Whoever India Willoughby wrote, sad and desperate. This is why it's virtually impossible for anyone trans to work in British media. That was just like, I guess, a shot at bro. Mm-hmm. Easy to dehumanize a group when they're not represented in the office. So...
yeah, all I'm gonna say is, once again, as somebody who didn't see the interview, and I don't want to, mischaracterize her opinions or anything like that. I'm gonna just say she's entitled, like anybody else. She's entitled to her opinion.
Facts.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
That's the biggest thing.
She's entitled to her opinion.
Have her opinion.
She's entitled to her opinion.
Agree to disagree.
Right. I don't have to like it. I don't have to. She's entitled to her opinion. And
but they were not.
That's it. That's all I got.
So my thing is, they weren't hateful viewpoints, and that's why I brought up the white person that looks at the news and don't want to move his kids over there. Right? That's your opinion. You didn't say anything like just hateful about black people. You just know you don't want to be moving your family into an environment that has high crime in it. Bam.
But what do we say when a black family says the same thing, right? When a black family who lives in the area say, I got to get my family out of this environment. Do we look down on them for wanting to put their family in a better environment?
Some people will.
Some people do, right? Yeah. It's like, I can understand the conversation of wanting to be somewhere safe and with my family. I can understand the conversation of a woman saying, well, I respect you for whatever you go through. That's not my experience.
Facts.
But women give birth to civilization. Like, that is an important role for a female. We don't want that to be something that's not really appreciated and what we are. And as women, if they want to stand on that, they have a right to stand on that too. They've all been very careful. They've all been media trained. You're talking about people who got agents and PR people, and it's no correct way to say it. If you say it at all, it's a problem.
The goal is, like you said, opening the statement up, the women have to stand on.
The women got to stand on it.
They
Because
have to.
every time a man says it, I don't know why we're looked at as so much the enemy to this. And I kind of do. Let me not be naive.
Because it's plenty.
There's a lot of alphas that, they don't want to have nothing to do with it, right? They're uncomfortable with the idea of it. I do understand that. But women, from my experience growing up and seeing all the gay men in my community and all the trans people that I saw in my community, women were their biggest allies. Women loved them for who they were. They supported them. So when a woman is saying this, it's not coming from a hateful place. Like they're your biggest supporters as women. And to still say, nope, you can't say that. You can't say this. My biggest problem with this whole thing, to be honest with you, no group of people should be able to destroy your career over an opinion.
Yeah.
That's just not even, I don't even know how we got here.
Well, but I kind of push back from you a little bit because it depends on if is your opinion hateful? Is it trying to tear down a certain community or culture or
that's a
things like that?
Thing. How do you feel when you hear it, right? I look at things from the context of it. Yeah. I know when someone's trying to offend, trying to be rude, trying to be hateful.
But some people will feel like Macy Gray's statement.
The way that she said it in complete calmness and making it clear that's not her intention, they were still offended by what she said. But to not be able to say it at all should be an alarming thing to a lot of people because we never understand something until it happens to us.
But before we move on and, kind of looking at it and just reevaluating it a little bit, the example I gave about the white person saying they don't, some of us will get it because the minute we hear something in regards to our culture, we will get offended. Right or wrong, we will get offended because of what we've been through.
Understanding changes that, though. We know better. We come from the communities. We know the areas.
It's just a different fight, though.
If someone tells me...
I hate to equate that to...
It's not the same fight. It's not the same fight.
It's a different fight.
But it's really hard to find something comparable to it, right? So you find something as close to it as you can to make a point. But to be literal, when you get to a certain place, mature-wise, you understand things different. I would never be offended, no matter what the race was, if they say they didn't want to grow up on 15th and Sawyer where I grew up and spent 23 years of my life. If I hear anybody of any culture say, I'm not moving my family there, I would say, great idea. I would not be offended by that. I understand the importance of safety for his family, of them kids being able to go to a good... I understand that. I'm a mature adult. I understand where they're coming from. Yeah. I don't take that personal.
I would love to have a member of the LGBTQ community. I think it's LGBTQ plus.
Right.
Now.
Okay.
Right? I would love to have a member on the podcast and just kind of, talk this out because my main thing is that our fights and our struggles are, even though they try to batch them all in together,
right.
I feel like it's a little different.
It's different.
And I would love for somebody to sit on this panel with us and, have dialogue respectfully as of why you feel it's similar or do you agree with me that it is different. So
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I feel it is too. So that being said, let's move on, guys. Wait, before we get into it, do you guys remember when I said we were gonna have Black-owned tequila up here every week until we run out of them?
Yeah.
That may be a while. It may not be, though, because I don't think it's a lot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think last week, not last week, but the last episode, we had John Basil.
Yeah.
And John Basil is a Nigerian gentleman that did a deal with Benny's or whatever. So that was that. We've had De Leon on here before, but it don't count because it was a long time ago. Okay. So John Basil was the start of it. This week we have tequila again. We're on our tequila kick. It's the summertime.
Right.
Like all that whiskey, man, that shit get you hot.
Absolutely.
Bro. So we got Lobos. There's like $100 bottle of this too. I don't know. I think is it the Anejo maybe?
It might be. That's like Sincoro. Like
yeah.
I think the Anejo is like $100 and something.
The Anejo was I went to Benny's. I'm like, well, we're not gonna grab that one, but we're gonna. And if it was good enough, you know, tequila is a funny thing, bro. Because I've been to Mexico a lot of times, and I've been to tequila shops, and some of the best tequilas you'll find. If you go on the tourist sites, you know, they'll charge you $40-$50. But if you go in the rural areas, some of the best tequilas are like $15, $10-$15, man.
I believe it. Yeah.
But with that being said, we support our brothers, especially this brother right here. This is LeBron James tequila.
LeBron James.
You actually put me on it because at a get together at the crib, you brought the tequila through, and I was like, Lobo, did you know what you were doing? Of course you did. Insanity. Of course you knew it was a black-owned tequila.
Yeah, nah, I knew it was his. I knew it was his tequila.
Yeah. So we got this, and how you like it?
I like it.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And you know I'm not a tequila drinker.
Yeah.
I love tequila.
Me too. It's definitely a smooth situation. I know these next few weeks gonna be kind of hard for you because we're tequilaing it out.
I'll make do.
If you do me a favor, find some black-owned whiskeys. Okay. I know we got
I'm gonna talk to the wife because she's big on the whiskey.
Well, who do we have? Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest.
I know that's a black-owned. The story is Jack Daniels robbed him of their recipe. Yeah, outside of that, I would need some help. But
I'll work on
Lobos, and I got some coming up next week too. So we'll do the next episode. We'll have another black tequila.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, why not? I like it too. It's nice and smooth. So moving on, y'all. Let's talk about the Nipsey Hussle situation, man. And we don't have to stay here long because this is something that's like finally. Right. You know what I mean? Like all the evidence is like out there, but
you saw before.
So jury finds man guilty of first-degree murder of rapper Nipsey Hussle.
Oh, he hit him with first degree. Okay.
And I feel like it took so and they if you look at the dialogue in this article, like they talk about how it took longer because of the pandemic and things of this nature. If that man walked up on a white, not even so Nipsey Hussle is iconic in his community.
Yeah.
If somebody walked up on a white guy and that's iconic in, I don't know what, Naperville. I keep using Naperville because I know it's a lot of white people in Naperville. If somebody walks up on that guy, fuck a pandemic, fuck whatever, we're getting you. It's going down. So it finally, after what was this? How long ago was this? 3 years ago?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I feel like it was even 3 or 4 years ago. It was a while ago.
Nah, I remember where I was when I heard about that. Yeah.
It was a very long time ago, and for this to take so long, and here's the thing, like when I say this, they're gonna be like, this niggas, they're never satisfied, right? You know what I mean? But justice has to like get pinned in a corner for us to receive it sometimes. It's just how I feel. You know, I'm not trying to be like the bickering black guy that doesn't.
All I know is,
but
them cats in that jail, they whooped his ass.
Bro.
Did you see his face when he like they gave him the beats?
It's crazy how.
You know, I got a whole different take on that shit, and I don't know.
Speak on his skills.
I look at somebody like Nipsey, right? I look at how important he was for the community. I think of the things that he was doing. I remember all that. I watched all this, and I was a big fan.
Facts.
The Grinshaw mixtape he was selling for $1,000 a piece. Like, I've been following him for a long time. And his impact in California was damn near almost Snoop-like in terms of his community, how they fuck with him. And he had some very important people that backed him and supported him. And when I see people of that influence and power that are killed in that manner, it always makes me think of the whole Malcolm X situation, where it's like, he's better off dead than alive, right? Because of what he's doing, because of what he's showing people in his community, the impact. You heard so many stories and interviews after his death, how he handled things and how his community was important, how he cleaned up the area, how he was talking to youngsters to do different shit with their life. Every time we get a guy with this kind of spirit, with this kind of energy, you know, there's always something strange about their death, right? And I feel this way about this. This doesn't seem like the type, and I don't know this guy, so I don't know him personally. But I'm
the
like,
guy that did the
somebody,
shooter?
the guy
or?
that killed him. And I'm just like, who paid him to do it? You know, is that just my conspiracy theory brain going crazy, or is it real?
Facts.
But I honestly feel like it was some other powers that be that was involved with this situation. This man wasn't hiding. Every day he was at his damn store in the neighborhood.
But check out the reason why they, at first, the lawyer was arguing that it shouldn't have been first-degree murder, right? So they're saying Nipsey called the man a snitch, saying he was working with the feds or whatever. The attorney said because that was such a hate type of...
Put his life in danger.
He was justified for walking up to the man, having the thing that got him is like you had like a 9-minute dialogue with him before you even popped him.
Right.
So now you had that dialogue with him, but that's why he popped you, because he felt this was just like ridiculous to even drag this out this long, right? There's plenty of witnesses that seen it. There's fucking cameras that viewed it. There's the businesses. It's a strip mall, so it was other businesses, cameras that seen it.
It was on camera.
I mean, damn.
Yeah, it was on camera.
So R.I.P. Nip.
R.I.P.
There's never any full, complete justice for what happened to you, brother, especially for the things that you were doing and in the manner you were doing it with. There's never any full justice for you. I don't care if they arrest 1,000 people for what you did and put them in jail forever. There's never any full justice for you. But finally, our so-called justice system made a decision on, you were taken away from us unjustly and unfair.
Yeah.
If it won't, and I want to just say this and leave it alone. I don't want to get nobody in trouble for the shit that I say. But if there's anybody at some point who really wants to do a deep investigation, there is a pattern of artists that own their own masters who mysteriously are murdered. And when they put that pattern together, I'm curious as to what they find.
Skills, I ain't even getting into that shit with you. Man, you I'm not doing that with you, Skills.
Bro, Prince and
this is like
whatever.
I ain't doing that with you.
I don't want to put nobody's life in danger, man. These just jokes. These just jokes.
Mel's like, those opinions represent the opinions of Skills and Skills only.
Bro.
Right.
That rabbit hole is so fucking deep, bro. Like, I'm not about to do that with you, Skills. I'm not gonna do it with you. That's like worse than the Michael Jackson thing, man. Let's let that. Yeah, we gonna let that live.
Right.
Brittany Griner.
Same thing to me,
bro. A vape cart.
Was that all it was?
That's all it was.
It was a hash oil.
And it was right. It wasn't even all. It was hash oil, bro.
It was hash oil.
A vape cartridge. She's
facing 10 years.
She's been like literally, and here's the biggest the big issue I want to get to, right? She's reached out and wrote letters to the president. Her wife has been back and forth on live media, important things. Like I think she's been on Good Morning America. And other things like that. Just to put things in perspective, right? Brittany Griner is a woman. Brittany Griner is black. Brittany Griner is gay. Those three things attached to her are like 3 different struggles, right? Mm-hmm. So you struggle because you're black. Mm-hmm. You struggle because you're a woman. Mm-hmm. You struggle because you're gay.
In a foreign country.
In a foreign country?
Well, they not fans of that at all. They have
None of
no
them.
Issues in Russia about gay rights.
For all 3 of them, like gay rights, women's rights, being
There's
black.
a lot going on. The war going on. Like
I done prayed for this sister a few times.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the outcome when I was ignorant on this originally, because when they first happened, I'm like, man, they just trying to, trip her up a little bit. She'll be back, but they trying to send a message. So now they have to work on like trading somebody off so she could come to the crib.
It's not a new deal.
She's been there for 90 days.
More than that.
Bro, this is insane.
Like almost 6 months.
Insane.
If it's not 6 months.
And she probably purchased the merchandise out there, bro. That's the crazy thing about it.
It was on a carry-on. They found it. And
I could not believe when listen, man, me, my mother, and the wife, we had dialogue about this. Mm-hmm. And I was the one saying, like, y'all tripping, man. She'll be home, like, they just gone, so they giving her the high extent of she'll be at the crib, though. She's still not here. We had that dialogue in, like, April of March.
Let me tell you,
shit,
when
bro.
they caught her with that, and I didn't know it was.
Did you think it was gonna lead to this? Go ahead, bro.
Dead ass. I thought she was in trouble because, like, in a totally separate discussion, but like, yeah, our drug laws are fucked up, no doubt. But like the drug laws they have in some of these other countries, like.
They ain't playing no games.
And so old school. So when they first was like, and when I heard it was like some hash, I was like, oh shit. Like
Facts.
they finna jam her up for real. So
dang,
I didn't think like, the 10-year sentence. I didn't know what Russia's sentencing like laws and all that shit was.
For sure.
But I remember I told my wife, I was like, nah, she in trouble. Like she in some serious trouble.
Well, I don't know.
And did wifey agree with you?
Yeah, she.
I just want the perspective because I was very ignorant on this situation. I think her thing was, and I'll put it out there.
And I think her thing was, and I've heard a lot of people say this is like, okay, and I'm sure we've all heard people we know like, all right, the shit you can do in the States and the shit you can get away with in the States, like you got to be careful because you can't get away with that shit in foreign countries. And that was kind of like her mentality. And to a certain degree, that was kind of like my thought initially was like, yeah, you gotta like, and to what Skill said, or you said, like, you black, you a woman, and you gay. And like,
oh my God.
If you have even a little bit of interest in the news, you know that like Russia is not a big fan of gay people. And so it was like, she checked all the boxes.
All the boxes.
All of them, bro.
And she got some level of notoriety. And she a black woman. And she's gay. It was just like...
It wasn't no hand.
Yeah, like she in trouble. Right, she in trouble. Yeah.
That's what I should have been realizing this shit. So
they proved the point they was trying to prove because they wanted to be known.
Well, they still proving it.
In my opinion, because... And I'm not sure. I didn't get the details of this. I remember reading something that was saying there was other people who got jammed up in Russia within the same year, and they're at the crib. The names and the times, I'm not.
It's a couple that are still over there though.
Yeah,
I know it's
because
a couple that's
Brittany,
still,
I think, put it in her letter too. Like me and these other people too. We need to, be out of here.
How this works. Like
we're not going to Russia, guys.
They know how this works. Other countries, hey, we got one of your citizens, you gotta let one of our people go, we'll do an exchange. Like this, they've been doing this forever.
That's what
they know
want.
The game. Like, hey, y'all know what we gotta do. We got one of your people. The one thing that's obvious right now is, she's not that valuable to us.
I hate to say it. That's
for
what
us
that's
to
what
make
it
this
is.
deal.
Yeah.
So what
Russia wants coming back.
Russia already done told.
Right.
6 months ago they done told America.
These are facts.
Release so and so. We'll send this girl home, and we've made it clear.
Facts.
Not we, but the president.
Yeah.
Them. No, that's not the same value to us. Right?
That's crazy.
That's
bro.
that's what they saying.
If nothing else, they don't. And again, I'm a conspiracy theory guy. You blame it on me. But they didn't let her have any communication with anybody until she directly sent a message to the president.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing they let her come out. She couldn't talk to her wife and her kids. She couldn't talk to family. She couldn't talk to teammates. Couldn't talk to lawyers.
But that's them over there. Right?
Yeah, but they allowed her to speak to the president of the United States. That's their way of saying, we're going to put you on blast now.
Yeah.
Because now she's begging you to help
Facts.
her. Now
And
let
y'all
the
won't
world
give us
see.
this one person.
Let the world see how fucking slow you move now.
You literally, you talking about all this equality and blah, blah, blah. This is, they hit the jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a black gay woman.
We're going to show you the hypocrites
That we telling y'all we'll send her over if you do this.
Right.
You're not going to do it?
Nope. They're not gonna make the deal.
Man, it could have been like
I wouldn't be shocked if they told her that in Russia. If they told her, they're not gonna do shit for you.
They probably did. That's what's so crazy.
Look, prove it to you. They're not gonna do nothing for you. They don't care nothing about you.
And no knock on him. Let somebody like Brian Scalabrine got fucking over there and did, you know what I mean? Who hasn't done nowhere near as much as Brittany Griner has in the WNBA. Let somebody like him get sent over there. I guarantee you, shout out to you, Brian. I'm just trying to prove a point.
We understand the power struggle of the White House.
That is insane, bro.
Not I wouldn't be an asshole. But you have a minority woman vice president.
Yes.
Right? You have somebody in a position of power who should be extremely sympathetic. Now, the power struggle of the White House is what it is. It's not like Kamala can walk in the office and push a button and make shit happen. But it shows the hypocrisy of our country.
Yes, it does.
In broad
view. It does, brother.
If it had been anyone else, if it was Tom Cruise, he to the crib, they would not have allowed Tom Cruise to go through this shit. She is to us, a lot of people may not know her like that until the incident, but she is an all-star, one of the best players in the WNBA.
Does. Right.
Yeah,
she's not no peon.
They done their research. That's why they trying. That's why they doing that.
They we said it. They don't look. The United States, the value of exchanging her for who Russia wants in return.
She's not valuable enough.
She's not valuable enough, and so they gonna my opinion is I don't think she's gonna do 10 years.
Well, she played. She's
already done way too much.
She's already done way too much.
She can face up to 10.
And she face up to 10. I think obviously eventually I think she's gonna come home. I think diplomatically the United States is trying to slow walk this and saying we're not telling Russia look, we ain't giving you who you want to get.
You're not getting it.
But what can we do to make this eventually it's gonna get to a point to where optically it's we got to figure out a deal to put this to bed.
I don't think they think that. Honestly, I think they gonna play hardball with them and say we're not giving you nothing. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
You could be right. You could be right.
What you gonna do? Because we're not gonna give you what you want. We're not negotiating. We're not gonna give you anything.
You could be right.
What are you gonna do? She's not of that value. And after a course of time, people will forget she's there. Because for almost a month and a half, people forget that she was there. It's so many things that easily distract human beings. She will be a person that will turn around a year from now on this show and be like, damn, is she still there? Right. Yeah, she's still there, bro.
Right.
No, you're right.
We're not giving you anything. Now what you gonna do? And I think this is the game they playing with.
They just don't, the value's not, unfortunately. And it's shitty and it sucks. It just ain't there.
So, sister, we praying for you, bro.
Yeah.
Hope she get home
we
as
already
quickly
know
as
this
possible.
Is unjust. I don't
shit's
know
ridiculous.
what it is we could do, but if there's petitions and all that shit,
point us in the door.
We're doing that.
But we own it. We own it. Brittany, we praying for you to get to the crib. Because it's so petty while you over there. You have no idea. And you were representing this country being over there. You feel me? So shout out to Brittany, y'all. Let's hope she justice. I can't even say that, but let's hope justice prevails. So let's move on to
let's do it.
to something else, guys. So we got a Rhode Island State Senator, Tiara Mack. Mm-hmm. She's being ripped for a video of herself twerking on her head.
Again,
did you guys see the video?
I saw the video.
Did you see the picture? Guys.
She's very talented.
I'm just looking at it right now. She's just gained an extra TikTok follower. And me, I don't know.
That's not an easy thing to do, man.
Okay, so there's a couple things to unpack here. This is somebody that's running for senator, state senator.
State of Rhode Island, yeah.
The state of Rhode Island on top of that, right? And then no pun intended on top of that, because she's standing on her head doing this. She's an attractive woman. She's built rather nicely.
Yes, she is.
Blessed, yeah.
She's blessed.
Yeah.
Is this wrong?
Man.
Is she wrong? Now, listen, fellas. I know what we are, and I know we look and see things that are very attractive to us. So before we answer, right? And I know you guys are fathers.
Yeah.
So I understand that you differentiate certain things to. Do we all have daughters? You don't have a daughter. You don't have a daughter.
No. I do, and you do.
You do, and I do as well. And you you're a very good father.
Yeah.
So
I understand the point.
We're all parents. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Because I understand how you will. Your son is into politics.
Yes.
So I know we've kind of differentiated. Like, get on top of this. Stay away from that.
Right.
Do this. But is this kind of like, let's even like reel this back in a little bit further.
Okay.
There are a lot of Caucasian twerk classes where like you got like UK chicks, a couple Russian chicks,
right?
White chicks in general that are teaching classes on twerking.
Yeah.
This is a senator. Well, not a senator. She's running for senate. She's running for the office. Is she wrong for posting this video? It's very promiscuous.
See,
this is where I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit of a fan of it.
This is where I get to the whole thing of like what you just alluded to around there being classes around twerking and all this stuff. Like
Facts.
It gets back to my
throw
premise.
that out
No, I appreciate it because it gets back to my premise of like the culture in this country. It loves black culture and it hates black people.
Yep.
And so to me, like you don't have to like if you're not a fan of her twerking and putting it in the TikTok. Like we said with the Macy Gray thing, you're entitled to your opinion. My whole thing is this. Donald Trump got elected to be president of the United States. Once that happened,
took the words out of my
once
mouth,
that happened, I don't want to hear shit about what is or isn't acceptable. We had a congresswoman from the state of Illinois. She claimed it was a mistake, but I call bullshit. Who said after Roe versus Wade got overturned, thank Donald Trump for protecting white life.
White life.
Like there's so many other things that we see transpiring in our political arena on a daily basis that is 1,000 times worse than somebody twerking on a political nominee twerking on a TikTok. Like, miss me with the fake outrage. Like I can't. Like I'm not gonna be able. Like I'm not. I can't do it. So
over
like
twerking.
Over twerking. So I'm like I don't care. That's my response to it.
So just to view before you get into it, skills, just to kind of speak on some of the comments, right? So she racked up over more than 70,000 views.
Right.
With a couple people, yeah.
Right.
And one person was like, I need to see more politicians doing this. One said, tempted to move to Rhode Island just to say this is my senator, right? Another fan wrote, as others said, she has sealed their support. Now, these are the naysayers.
Right.
If this is what's running for our country, we are in serious trouble, one commenter wrote. If her opponent doesn't use this video, do they even want to win? Another accused her of saying she set the race, so I'm assuming this is a black person saying this. Of course, yeah. She set the race back years with this, while another told her, I don't ever want to hear you complain about how women aren't respected in this country after this post. These are just a couple things that are like
all of that.
Okay.
It's just so those are just some of the things that this young lady is dealing with, because of
Like, I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave it alone. Like, some of those comments, like I hate that we continue to fall for this whole
facts. Go ahead.
This respectability thing where it's like, oh, you setting the culture back, this, that, and the other, because
white people could perform how they want.
I'm saying
there's some mishaps. Because black people perform one way, and it's just damaging to the whole world. The whole fucking circumference of black culture.
We continue, like, I'll be the first person to say, I don't understand how black people can be Republicans.
Right.
But I also will say all black people aren't a monolith. And so it's like, how is it that one person, like you just said so eloquently, how is it that one person, when it comes to black people, the behavior, quote unquote, of one person sets the whole race back. Right. And we're the only group of people where that argument is posed on. Like, am I shocked that a nominee for political office has a TikTok of them twerking? Yeah, I was a little surprised, but at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, what are their views? What are their stances? A whole bunch of other things. But then I keep coming back to it. Like, if a candidate has a twerking video, is the worst thing you can say about them versus some of the other people we know who are running for political office. We have a Republican candidate for governor of Illinois whose response to the Highland Park shooting was basically, we need to get past this so we can continue to enjoy our 4th of July.
Right.
Like, we can go on Google right now and find a bunch of other things that political candidates have said or done that's 1,000 times worse than this. But we want to try to make this an issue. Miss me with it. Yeah.
This is a correction I want to make.
Speak on it, sir. Speak on it, please.
I found myself at some point, and actually until recently of this year, still falling victim for that being a shame moment. When I think the Oscars was my moment where I felt a certain way, and then I really had to reconsider my stance on it. Because we sometimes fall victim to always wanting to be our best in front of white people. Mm-hmm. And even if someone like me who's unapologetically black, comfortable in my own skin, I still fall victim to that at times too. So I made a commitment to be more conscious and stop falling for that shit.
Right.
Having said that, this is a prime example of that. Because today's culture, if you want people to tune in, if you want to be relatable, if you want to be all the things a politician is supposed to be, you're supposed to represent the people and relate to the people. I think she did more good in doing that than damage, because there's so many more young people who look at her as relatable, who are voters, and gives her an edge in terms of how people look at her. Now, at the same time, of course, as a woman, she's not naive. to the negative comments she was going to get for that.
Right.
I don't believe that at all. I believe she knew exactly there was going to be some people who was going to say the shit and, oh my God, she's representing this and doing. But overall, it was a better thing for her than it wasn't to do it. Because it introduced her as being authentic to a young demographic of people who appreciate that. And people who just don't got a broom up their ass and appreciate a person just being a human being.
If that was, if what she did was strategic,
I believe
does that make it wrong?
It doesn't make it wrong because you're doing it for a certain reason. She didn't go into it blind. She knew exactly the negative and the positive. Like I say, anybody in politics or any of that arena, they got a room full of people who's already telling you what's going to happen before it happens. They're doing studies. They're looking at things. These are the people that work for candidates. They've already outlined the negative that was going to come with it.
Right.
But the positive was more beneficial to her campaign, and that's why she did it, right? And I agree that it was. We get to a point where, especially our parents' generation, well, politicians are supposed to be robots who are not human beings.
Right.
They don't feel anything. They don't have dinner with their wives. Hell, some politicians, we can't even imagine being intimate with each other. They just give this whole presence that they're above people. You're supposed to represent the people. You're supposed to look like us and sound like us. How are you that if you look so above us? So I think this generation is changing that.
Well, that's a great perspective.
We want to relate to people. We want you to know I'm just like you because it's a shitload of young voters who are sick of the same thing. There's so many young voters, especially that I work with and I be around, that they got to pay them to go to the polls. Like, they just like, what's the point? I don't like either candidate. Like, why am I wasting my time? They don't think that they're represented or have anyone running that they can relate to.
Exactly.
These are old, white people for the most part.
Facts.
So they don't relate to them at all. And they count on that because there's older white people who still like the status quo and they can guarantee they vote. So they're giving the fan base that they're trying to reach the show that they want to see. Right. Well, now young voters are saying, well, we matter too. So now candidates are smart. Bernie Sanders did this about 6-7 years ago when he started touring all the black colleges, speaking to students. And his numbers went crazy after that. It was a little too late, little too late to do it. But he saw how his numbers changed.
You don't like Bernie, he feel the burn.
That's how you feel about Bernie. You ain't gotta like Bernie, but I'm just saying.
No, I feel what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Younger people. And it was a lot of young people with Bernie stickers in their college dorms and on their cars, man. Like, if you don't reach out to that group of people, you're in bad shape now. Old people won't be here forever. That generation is fading away. You better adapt to the voters who are presently here. And I think that was her goal to do that. And I'm okay with that. And like Park say, just to top it off, who are they to judge anything?
I'm saying, right.
The shit that we see. I saw a congresswoman, I can't even think of her name, Marjorie, whatever her name is, had a camera crew. She chased down one of the victims from a school shooting, telling them that it never happened.
Exactly.
And that was okay for her to tell a kid who survived the shootout that he was never shot at.
Right.
And that all the kids that he mourned, what was his friends, was all bullshit and it's part of a cover-up. We got people like that,
right,
who are accepted.
Somebody who made a TikTok
twerking. The damn beach video
right.
It's too far.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Thank you.
It's good.
Right, but that group of people, and I'm gonna leave it at that because hell, that's a whole other topic for next time.
Right.
They are terrified of a lot of things. The world is changing.
Yeah.
The numbers are changing.
Yep.
It is not in their favor anymore.
Yep.
And watch, she did this now. Watch how many more you see after this. Watch how many more videos you see of somebody doing something on TikTok to get in contact with all of those voters who that's what they watch.
Yeah.
It's a great point, fellas. I'm sorry, I was lost. I was looking at the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you first of all, you killed that situation. I do feel like, yeah, it was an older adult vibe, right? But again, our culture gets scrutinized only when you put us in the forefront as far as power is concerned. Right? But again, that's the reason why I brought up their twerk. They're literally twerk classes that are ran by white women that we started that, obviously.
Love black culture. Hate black people.
Say it again. Say it one more time.
This society.
One more time.
This society loves black culture.
Facts.
Hates black people.
Yeah. Facts. Like, and that's exactly what this is right now. So, you know, and again, right? Like, dancing like that is for a more adult realm. It is for like 18, 19, 20. Guess what? Those are the people that can vote.
They voting.
You don't like your daughter looking at that at 12, 13, 14? School her.
Yeah.
Let her know what it is. And because that there is a twerking situation, guess what, guys? It's a fucking type of dance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that she is ready to just take off everything and give you the business, and it doesn't mean any of that. So stop playing with us, man. This is what we are always engulfed with. That young lady is running for senator in Rhode Island, bro.
Switch that shit up.
In Rhode Island. Switch it up.
I just continue to say, you will find, I bet if you do just the easiest Google search, you will find more political nominees for office who have done way worse than this.
Especially the men, right?
Exactly.
The first lady had naked pictures on the internet.
The white men politicians?
This shit is crazy, bro.
Stop playing,
right, like,
man.
And I thought about that when it was like the first lady, Trump's wife, when they had the naked pictures that went viral on the internet. If that was Michelle Obama, it'd be a whole different. We already know that. Like, we ain't got to get deep into that.
Yeah.
They do shit.
Well, you know, they're sexualized.
Oh my God. They do shit.
Way more sexualized.
That's on a whole other level of inappropriate.
They could be wearing the exact same things. And due to the fact that they're curvaceous and way more swaggy, look at her.
Because their husband's looking. Their husband's looking.
Right, I was going to say, that's what it is.
And
like,
their daughter's looking too.
Right.
And their daughters is like, that looks sexy.
What Sir Mix-a-Lot say? Even white boys got to shout.
They got to shout. You see she got talent.
Fellas,
fake
before we
outrage.
end this, let's go ahead and pour it up one more time. I ain't going to give you a lot because you already established. You've been bullshitting over here. Talking I just figured out what you've been doing.
You done caught on now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All right, let's do this, guys. Hold on, man. Wait,
I just want to taste it first. I'm all right.
All right, so before we get out of here, fellas, I just want to say, obviously, I appreciate
yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Doing this with y'all. Next week, the next podcast is gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be the shorties. We're gonna get their perspective on some things.
It's gonna be dope.
Man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's cheers to the 606.
Salute, my
to
brother.
the album. The album is about to be out.
Yeah.
Y'all missed it. Very disappointed. Let's talk about that,
I was
man.
here for the album listening,
Neither one of you motherfuckers came through, man.
How many people showed up?
About 50.
You know how I feel about crowds.
You gonna play me like that,
That'll
man.
do it.
You know how I feel about crowds.
What can you say to that? What can you say to that?
You knew I wasn't gonna say shit either.
You can't say none of that.
God damn.
You point me in a direction, I will buy a copy of the album, but you know how I feel about crowds.
I love you.
Appreciate you.
This is the 606. Whatever.
By the way,
podcast.
congratulations to my man Skills. Got the new crib
Thank
and
you
all
very
that
much.
stuff. I
Yeah.
won't put your
Thank you
business.
very much,
I won't
brother.
put too much of your business out there, but congratulations.
Say the
on that.
address online.
Yeah.
I'm bringing everybody that's a fan of the 606
Yeah.
with me.
50, 50, 50, 50, 50.
31st, right?
50, 50, 50, 50, 50.
This is the 606 Whateva Podcast, y'all. 2 of them.
Yes, sir.